The moment Shedeur Sanders stepped onto the field for his first NFL preseason game, you could feel it in the air. Something was about to happen. Not the usual, let's see what the rookie can do kind of vibe. Not the hey, he might surprise us optimism. No, this felt different. This felt like the calm before a storm that was about to roll right through the Carolina Panthers defense. And when the whistle blew, that storm hit hard. From his first snap, Sanders didn't look like a rookie fighting for reps. He looked like a quarterback who had been here before.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Who knew the speed, knew the reads, and knew exactly how to make a defense dance to his rhythm. This wasn't about luck. This wasn't about the Panthers having an off night. This was about a young quarterback walking into the NFL with everyone doubting him and deciding to burn that narrative to the ground in real time. You remember all those pre-draft takes? The ones where scouts said things like, good athlete, but the arm talent's questionable, or he needs a couple of years to develop before he's ready? Yeah, that version of Shedeur Sanders did not show up in Charlotte. The version that did show up? He was throwing with precision, running the offense like he'd been in it for years, and hitting receivers in stride so cleanly it was almost surgical. And it wasn't just the throws, it was the way he played. There's a difference between a quarterback who knows the playbook and one who owns it. Sanders owned it. He wasn't rattled when the Panthers disguised their coverages. He wasn't panicking when the pocket started to collapse. He stepped up, shifted just enough to buy time, and fired. That quick release? Deadly. That poise? Unshakable. By the end of the first half, the Panthers' defense looked like they'd been chasing shadows. You could see the frustration on their faces. They weren't just getting beat, they were getting out-thought, out-timed, and outclassed by a guy making his NFL debut. And that's when Rex Ryan entered the conversation. Now, Rex has never been shy about telling it like it is. He's been around the league long enough to spot hype from reality, and after the game, he wasn't holding back. This kid's the real deal, Rex said, practically grinning through the broadcast. I don't care what the scouts said before, this wasn't luck, this was a quarterback running the show like a veteran. And if you can't see that, you're not watching the same game I am. Rex wasn't alone. Analysts who'd been lukewarm on Sanders before were suddenly fumbling to reframe their takes. You know how it goes, well, I always said he had potential, or we knew this was in him. He just needed the right stage. Right. Because nothing says I believed in him all along, like dropping him into the 5th round and calling him a long-term project. The truth? Most of them didn't see this coming. And that's exactly why it was so sweet. Because here's the thing, Shedeur's debut wasn't just a good game for a rookie. It was the kind of performance that flips the script, that makes people in front offices across the league lean forward in their chairs and say, okay, maybe we messed up. The Panthers learned that lesson the hard way. They came in expecting a rookie they could fluster. They left with a tape full of perfectly timed passes, precision reads, and drives that chewed up clock and ended with points. Sanders didn't just beat them. He made it look like it was supposed to happen. Browns fans? Oh, they're buzzing. You'd think they'd just won a playoff game the way people are talking. And can you blame them? This is a franchise that's had to sit through more quarterback rebuild years than most fan bases have had in their entire existence. When you see a rookie step in and look like the answer, even in a preseason game, you start imagining things. Big things. But here's where the real drama kicks in. Because as much as the fans are ready to crown him, the Browns coaching staff has been careful, almost too careful, about what comes next. They've kept their public comments measured. They've emphasized that it's just one game, and there's a lot of football left to play. Sure, that's the smart way to handle a rookie in the media. But let's be honest, you don't see a performance like that and just shrug it off as a fluke. You don't watch a quarterback walk into his first NFL action and control the game like a 10-year vet without at least rethinking your depth chart. And that's exactly what's happening behind closed doors. Because while the public conversation is about managing expectations, the private conversation is about whether the Browns can afford not to ride this momentum. Sanders doesn't just have the physical tools. He has the calm, the swagger, and the decision-making that you usually have to pay in blood, sweat, and interceptions to earn over years. This is where the league starts to take notice. You've got defensive coordinators already thinking about how they'd game plan against him. You've got veteran QBs making mental notes about the kid who just showed up and stole headlines in August. And you've got fans, not just in Cleveland, but around the NFL, who want to see more. The best part? Sanders doesn't seem rattled by any of it. He's not out there bragging. He's not chest-thumping. He's just working. That's how you know it's not a flash in the pan. This isn't a one-night stand with greatness. This is a quarterback building something real. And if you're an NFL team that passed on him, you're probably already feeling a little queasy. Because here's the truth about preseason. The stats don't matter as much as how you get them. A rookie who throws for 200 yards on busted coverages isn't necessarily ready. But a rookie who systematically works down the field, makes the right reads, and doesn't panic when things break down, that's a different animal. And that's exactly what Sanders did. The Panthers tried to disguise coverage. He read it. They sent pressure. He got the ball out in 2 seconds flat. They dropped 8 in coverage. He checked it down and moved the sticks. He never looked rushed, never looked lost, and never looked like he didn't belong. And that's why Rex Ryan's praise hits so hard. Rex has seen rookies come and go. He's seen guys light up one game and vanish the next. But what Sanders showed wasn't just flash, it was foundation. The kind of foundation you can build an offense around. Now, is it too early to call him the future of the Browns? Probably. But is it too early to say the Browns might have just pulled off the steal of the draft? Absolutely not. The question now is whether the Browns are ready to lean into it. They can play it safe, ease him in, and risk losing the momentum he's already built. Or they can roll the dice, give him more meaningful reps, and see just how far this thing can go. For a fan base starving for hope, the choice seems obvious. And for the rest of the league, the message from Sanders' debut is even clearer. You can doubt him all you want, just be ready for the highlight reel when you do. Because if week 1 of the preseason is any indication, Shedeur Sanders isn't here to develop. He's here to disrupt. And judging by the way Rex Ryan and half the NFL media are already pivoting, the disruption has only just begun. What made this debut even wilder is how quickly it went from nice rookie outing to the talking point of the weekend. Usually, preseason headlines are swallowed up by injuries, roster cuts, or some viral sideline moment. But this time, every sports show, every highlight reel, every Monday morning recap had the same lead-in. Did you see what Shedeur Sanders just did? And it wasn't just the numbers, it was the feel. You know that rare thing in sports where the energy changes because one player is on the field? That happened. You could see linemen firing off the snap a little harder. Receivers running sharper routes because they knew the ball was coming their way on time. Even the defense seemed hungrier, like they wanted to make sure his work didn't go to waste. That's not normal for a rookie in his very first NFL game. Usually, the team rallies around veterans. Rookies are supposed to be in the earn-your-stripes phase. But Sanders? He had guys looking at him like he'd been leading them for years. And here's the thing no one's talking about enough. The Browns' sideline that night was calm. No yelling, no chaos, no frantic hand gestures from the coaches. The game just flowed. That's a quarterback effect you can't measure on a stat sheet. You either have it or you don't. And from the looks of it, Sanders has it in spades. Another layer to this whole thing is how unbothered he seemed by the stage. For most rookies, your first snap in the NFL, preseason or not, comes with nerves you can't just switch off. But when the camera zoomed in on Sanders under center, his expression was the same one you'd see in a casual walkthrough. Not arrogance, not detachment, just pure readiness. Like, yeah, I've been here in my head 1,000 times already. That's probably what freaked the Panthers' defense out more than anything. They were expecting a kid they could bait into mistakes, not someone who studied enough film to recognize their disguised looks before the ball was even snapped. By the second quarter, they stopped blitzing as much, not because they didn't want to get to him, but because every blitz seemed to get punished with a quick strike downfield. And let's not skip over the subtle little leadership moments. when a receiver dropped a ball. No slumped shoulders. No passive-aggressive clapping. Sanders jogged over, gave a pat on the helmet, and immediately called for the next play like nothing happened. That's the kind of thing veterans notice. That's the kind of thing that makes a locker room start thinking, maybe this guy's ready right now. Rex Ryan picking up on that wasn't an accident. He's coached enough games to know when a quarterback is running an offense versus just existing in it. And his praise carried weight because he didn't just focus on the big plays. He pointed out the footwork, the pocket presence, the way Sanders slid protections to buy an extra half second against pressure. Those are details most rookies don't touch for years. But maybe the most dramatic ripple effect here is what's happening in the Browns building this week. You can't have a debut like that and not shake the depth chart conversation. The veterans see it. The position coaches see it. The coordinators see it. Even if the official line is one game doesn't decide anything, everyone knows momentum in the NFL is a dangerous thing to waste. And if you really want to know why this is such a headache for the coaching staff, it's because the timing is terrible, in the best possible way for Sanders. The Browns' schedule early in the season is stacked with winnable games. That's the kind of stretch where a hot quarterback can rack up wins, build confidence, and suddenly own the job before anyone can blink. So now they've got a decision. Do they ride the safe, veteran option who knows the system but hasn't lit it up? Or do they gamble on the rookie who just proved he can handle the speed, the reads, and the pressure, even if it's just preseason? From a drama standpoint, this is gold. From a football standpoint, this might be the first real turning point for the Browns season before it even starts. You can already picture the conversations in other front offices, too. GMs who passed on him in the draft are probably pacing in their offices right now, replaying every reason they talked themselves out of taking him. And they're not just thinking about the player they missed, they're thinking about the brand. Because if Sanders keeps this up, he's not just going to be a quarterback. He's going to be a face of the league. And that's where this gets really interesting, the cultural factor. Sanders comes into the league with a name, a style, and a confidence that younger fans connect with instantly. He's not trying to fit the old school head down, no personality QB mold. He's embracing who he is, and he's winning while doing it. That combination? That's marketing gold for the NFL. Imagine the fallout if the Browns don't give him the reins and he ends up lighting it up somewhere else. Imagine the highlight reels, the interviews, the constant what-if conversations that would haunt Cleveland for years. They've been through enough quarterback regrets to know that's not a ghost you want hanging around the building. The wild part is, we're still talking about one game, one preseason opener. But it's the kind of one game that's not about stats, it's about proof. Proof that the speed isn't too fast for him. Proof that the playbook isn't too big for him. Proof that the moment isn't too loud for him. And maybe most importantly, proof that every single doubt thrown his way was premature at best, dead wrong at worst. Rex Ryan said it best when he called him the real deal. But the beauty is, Sanders doesn't need Rex to validate him. He's already validated himself. And if this is what he looks like with barely a few weeks in the NFL system, the rest of the league should probably start preparing now. Because the honeymoon phase is over. The debut is in the books. And the next time Shedeur Sanders takes the field, you can bet every eye and every camera will be locked on him, waiting to see if he's about to turn a preseason headline into a full-blown season takeover. If you ask me, I don't think we've seen anything yet. You know what's really wild about this whole Shedeur Sanders situation? It's not just that he played well, it's how he played well. Most rookies, in their first preseason outing, they live and die by scripted drives. They get a handful of plays from the OC, run them exactly as drawn, and pray nothing unexpected happens. But Shedeur? He went off script. That's where you separate the hype from the truth. One moment that stuck with me. Third down, pocket starting to crumble, linebacker bearing down. 9 times out of 10, a rookie panics there. They either tuck and run into a wall or force something into coverage. Shedeur didn't do either. He hit a quick sidestep, kept his eyes downfield, and fired a dart between 2 defenders for the first down. That's not rookie instinct, that's quarterback DNA. And it wasn't some wow, he got lucky play either. It was calculated. You could see it in the footwork, in the way he reset his stance before throwing. That's years of reps kicking in, years of being taught by people who actually know how to play the position at the highest level. Here's another layer people aren't talking about: the sideline dynamic. When the offense came off the field, Shedeur wasn't isolating himself on the bench with a tablet, hiding from mistakes or soaking in praise. He was walking up to his linemen, talking through protection shifts. He was, with receivers, pointing at routes on the screen. That's rare for a rookie, especially one who hasn't even been promised a starting job. Veterans notice that stuff. They've been around enough rookies who only think about their own play sheet. They can spot the ones who are building chemistry in real time. You give a locker room a quarterback who makes everyone feel like they're part of the plan? That's how you win buy-in. And here's the sneaky part. Buy-in from the locker room creates pressure on the coaching staff. When your players start believing the kid can run the show, it gets harder to justify keeping him on the bench. It doesn't happen overnight, but it builds. Every practice rep, every drive, every moment he makes the right read, it chips away at the "he's not ready yet" narrative. We also can't ignore the fact that Shedeur didn't lean on gimmicks. Some rookie QBs lean into mobility as a crutch, and hey, it works sometimes. But Shedeur didn't need it. Sure, he moved in the pocket, but he was always moving to throw, not just to survive. That's the kind of decision-making that keeps you in this league for a decade. Even the defense feeds off that. Sounds weird, right? But think about it. When your defense trusts that the offense won't stall out every other drive, they play looser. They take more calculated risks. You saw it in that game. The Browns' defense started flying around more aggressively in the second half because they knew Shedeur was going to take care of the football. And let's talk about ball security for a second. 0 turnovers in your first NFL action? That's no small feat, not when you're facing a defense that's throwing exotic looks at you just to see if they can rattle you. The Panthers tried it all: press coverage, delayed blitzes, stunt packages. And Shedeur calmly diagnosed it like he was in a film session. I think the real danger here, for the Browns, not for Shedeur, is how quickly the public is catching on. This isn't some quiet, "he looked good" buzz. This is loud. This is nationwide. You've got fan accounts already making highlight reels with captions like "our QB1." You've got debates on sports radio that aren't about if he should start, but when. And that noise? It's not going away. If anything, it's going to get louder with every snap he takes. If he lights it up again next week, the Browns are going to have to answer for why he's still standing on the sideline behind someone with worse numbers and less control of the offense. You know what else is fascinating? The contrast in body language between him and the other QBs in that room. I don't care what the stat sheet says, the camera catches everything. When Shedeur's on the field, you see a certain energy ripple through the team. When the others are out there, it's not the same. That's not a knock on them. It's just reality. Some guys change the temperature of the room. And while the Browns brass might still be trying to temper expectations, there's no stopping what's happening right now. Shedeur isn't just playing quarterback. He's shifting the conversation about the position in Cleveland. For years, it's been a revolving door of maybe this guy, and let's just get through the season. This feels different. It feels like the start of something you can build around. There's a part of me that wonders if the Browns even realize the gold mine they're sitting on, or if they're so scared of being wrong about their initial QB plan that they'll dig in until it's too late. That's happened before in this league. A coach or GM refuses to pivot, and by the time they do, the opportunity's gone. And if that happens here, Cleveland might never live it down. Because if Shedeur Sanders can do this in his first taste of the NFL, imagine what he'll look like with an offense actually built for him. Imagine the play calling tailored to his strengths, the weapons dialed into his timing, the trust that comes with first-team reps every week. You think the Panthers' defense looked lost now? Give him a year as QB1, and there will be coordinators losing sleep on Tuesdays trying to figure him out. And maybe that's why the Rex Ryan clip resonated so much. It wasn't just praise, it was a challenge to the league. It was him saying, "You saw it. Don't pretend you didn't. Now do something about it." The Browns can either listen now, or they can watch another team reap the benefits when they finally come to their senses. But here's the twist. The more they hesitate, the more they risk alienating not just Shedeur, but the fan base that's already all in on him. And if there's one thing Cleveland's history has taught us, when the city turns on you over a quarterback, it gets ugly fast. The Browns didn't just get a promising rookie in Shedeur Sanders. They got a spark they didn't know they needed. In his very first preseason game, he wasn't just running plays. He was running the show. Poise in the pocket, perfect timing on throws, leadership in the huddle. All from a fifth-round pick the league barely paid attention to. The Panthers' defense came in expecting a rookie they could rattle. Instead, they got picked apart. Sanders read their disguises, slid protections, and punished every mistake. No panic, no sloppy decisions, just a calm, calculated dismantling of a defense. Rex Ryan said it best, asterisk, this kid's the real deal. Asterisk, and that's not lip service. It's a warning to the rest of the league. You can't watch that performance and still call him a project. The locker room felt it, the fans saw it, and now the pressure's on the Browns. Keep him on the bench, and they risk wasting the momentum. Give him reins, and they might just have their first real franchise QB in decades. Either way, one thing's certain. Shedeur Sanders isn't waiting for permission to prove he belongs.